Got a handful of day games going on Wednesday, June 12th here in MLB action, but we do have 11 games on the night slate. How are we going to make money betting all of it, though? That's what you're here to find out. This is First Pitch on WagerTalk TV. We're going to be talking Nats, Tigers, A's, Padres, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and the Phils and the Red Sox. We got your first five, your Nerfies, your Yerfies, and of course, the sides and totals, player props that you know and love. Breaking down the games with me, I got the Morning Wager crew joining me. Bryan Power and Mark Zinno. Mark dressed up in his Tokyo Brandon best. We try and bring some decorum to the show. Bryan, I thought you were also doing fedora. You're just rocking the beautiful hair. You got one?
I have these bulky headphones.
People got to stick around.
Hold on here a second there.
You do have it.
As you can see,
this is looking.
Have a hat.
Get your screenshots of the Newsboys here.
Wait a second. Bryan Power right now looks like he looks like the grandfather walking on the beach with his sneakers on. Like that's what he looks like right now.
He looks like he's in protection, witness protection, just like down on the beach, just like BP. BP, Zinno can pull it off. BP, a little rough.
I mean, he almost feels like Weekend at Bernie's. He almost feels Weekend at Bernie's. It feels very Weekend at Bernie's.
It does. Just flop around the arms.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God. Dear God.
I think I busted that hat out
anyone who's here.
I'm surprised it's not muddy or covered in booze, to be honest.
Anyone who's here for baseball picks, gentlemen, has already left. They're like, I'm going to take baseball picks from the two guys who look like tipsters in the 1940s. Like joining me today is Deep Throat. Join them in the parking garage to find out Watergate. What happened? All right, gentlemen. We do have some baseball to get into. Shout out to the chat for joining us here. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed so you never miss openings like this to First Pitch. Sean Alvarez, Titan CT, Have, Cash, all of you in the house. Kyle saying hats are fire. Well, hopefully the picks are fire here today, gentlemen. Fashion notwithstanding, Nats and Tigers. With how bad the fashion has been on the show, it's only natural that we start off with a Nats and Tigers breakdown here. No shade to the Tigers, though, but part of the equation there at least. But BP, 9 runs coming across yesterday, and if you had the under in the first 5, it's just brutal because 6 of those runs came in the 5th inning. This game here tonight, though, I'm not seeing that there should be any weather issues. Really, across Major League Baseball seems pretty clean. Maybe some games that have some wind blowing out and whatnot. But as far as this one goes, you think it might be a little bit in stark contrast to yesterday, might be a little more pitching friendly with Irvin and Olsen on the mound. Why is that?
Yeah, so Dan, I don't think there's a huge difference between these two teams, quite frankly. Nats 31-35 on the year, minus 19 run differential. Tigers were 32-34 with a minus 7 run differential. You mentioned the game last night. It was tight. Washington goes on to win. There was not much scoring after that 5th inning. It wound up being a 5-4 game. Nats win in the 10th on a sac fly that was set up by the automatic base runner. Hate that rule. Getting to 3rd on a wild pitch. So it was, one wild pitch and 1 sac fly, and the Tigers were done. In terms of the side tonight, I do lean toward the Nats, mainly because the Tigers' offense right now is somewhere between god-awful and just non-existent. They're 3rd to last in all of baseball in WRC plus the last 2 weeks. And since Kerry Carpenter went on the IL, guys, how about a 68 WRC plus against righties? If you're not familiar with WRC plus, that is very bad there for the Tigers. And tonight they are facing a righty starter, as you mentioned, Jake Irvin, Dan. Irvin's last 7 starts, 2.18 ERA, .895 whip. That all being said, okay, with the Tigers offense being no good, the Nationals offense last night, it only got 1 run on 1 hit in 4 innings against Kenta Maeda. Kenta Maeda was not coming into that game in good form. And tonight they go against Reese Olson. I know Olson's had the back-to-back rough outings, but he came into June sporting a 1.98 ERA. So he'd been pitching well. I'm going to look past what we've seen from him the last 2 starts and think he can kind of bounce back here. And honestly, I'll appeal to you with this one, Dan. If you like the Tigers to win this game, instead of laying the price, how about just Olson plus 190 to record a win?
I love it.
I mean, I know. This is what we call appealing to the show host in the business. But if Detroit wins here, it's going to be because of Olsen, right? Holding the Nationals in check. He's certainly due for a win. He only has 1 in his 12 starts this year, which is pretty unfortunate when you look at the numbers. But for the season, Washington's offense has been statistically worse than Detroit's. But with the Tigers being so bad recently, I'm going to stick with the under 7.5 here. You go back to Irvin, under 6-0 his last 6 starts, no more than 7 total runs scored in any of those games. I don't think we see more than 7 total runs scored tonight. So under 7.5 is my official play for this one.
Under the 7.5 from my man BP. And again, shout out to the chat. The guys were loving the fashion at the top. We had people saying that BP looking like he's looking for photos of Spider-Man. We had BP has horse owner vibes all over him. I couldn't. It was indistinguishable. Was it Bob Baffert or was it Brian Bauer?
Hold on, here. I'm going to try to put this on my headphone. How's this look? I told you I wore it at the Derby. The horse owner thing makes sense. I'm surprised his hat's in good shape. It might actually be my wife's hat.
You look like Inspector Gadget's like long lost twin. Like his brother is go Gadget winning play.
There you go. Go Gadget bets.
Ridiculous.
Go Gadget bets.
Yeah, go Gadget bets. go Reasonably. Go under in that one. Go bet the under according to Brian Power. Nats and Tigers. Keep those questions coming. We will talk Yanks from my man Kyle over there in the YouTube Shorts feed. BJ chiming in. Giants, Astros, bro. Don't worry, bro. We got you. We'll talk Giants and Stros coming up here in just a few. But Zinno wanted to touch upon another total right out of the gate here. Cleveland and Cincinnati. And we've seen actually some money push this towards 8, as it was an opener of 8.5. Wasn't there for long. So we're basically seeing 8 painted across the board. But for you, Zinno, that just means, hey, give me that half a run, because I think that gives us more potential to get a better number playing the over here. Of course, no key number we're talking about. It's sitting in between those two. But what's the thoughts and why we think we might see some runs stacking up in this one?
Yeah, I mean, who better to discuss this play in honor of the Ohio native himself, Brian Power, for the Ohio Cup between the Guardians and Reds. But, you know, it's kind of in the something's got to give category here when you look at these two starters, right? Tanner Beebe has been actually pretty good this year, all things considered. 4-1, 3.73 ERA and a 1.19 WHIP. But the Guardians are 11-2 in his 13 starts this year. They're averaging almost 6 runs a game in his starts. They have 5.7 runs per game in his starts. So he's getting a ton of run support. And that's really the same thing for Nick Lodolo, the Reds starter. The Reds are 7-2 in his 9 starts this year. He's getting 4.5 runs of support per start. So both of these offenses providing a lot of firepower for both of these starting pitchers here. And one more why I didn't kind of pick a side here was because the last 17 times the Guardians have faced a left-handed starter, they are 13-4 straight up and averaging nearly 6 runs a game. And Nick Lodolo obviously is a lefty here. So I feel like the runs are going to be there. Add on top of this here, Dan, that last night in the matchup between these two teams, the Guardians used 4 relievers and the Reds used 6. So we got some wasted bullpens here that could give us the added push we need late. I knew the money came in on, moving the total down to 8, but I kind of just jumped in and took the 8 and was happy with it. I'm willing to fade what the public is doing here, or at least where the money is going. These two teams played to 8 runs last night. These two lineups are too good. The Reds, over the course of the last 10 days since June 1st, 11 days, 3rd most runs in Major League Baseball. So their bats are starting to come around right now. Love the spot here for the Reds at home, but just didn't want to fade that sort of Guardians against lefty streak that's going on here. So I think the runs come. One of these teams will probably do more of the heavy lifting than the other, but I would assume if we're in a position where it's 3-3 late, that we get to at least 8 and this thing pushes into extras, and we're in a very favorable spot here. So I like the over in this spot between Cleveland and Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I love the fact, you point out how it worked out last night, and you also touch upon just those tired bullpen arms. So this is a play that you could potentially, it's sitting at 8, so you've already seen some under money come in, so we're bucking that trend already. If you do have a slow start and you didn't get the bet in pregame, maybe you watch the show here a little bit, maybe you have a chance of potentially hopping in on a live total over in that one, waiting for those bullpens to trot on out. The play is going on the over in the battle there of Ohio for our man Mark Zinno. Zinno, I'm going to throw it back to you as you're our resident Yankees guy here. I mean, geez, when is this team going to cool off? Well, it definitely isn't going to cool off tonight because it's hot, it's humid in Kansas City, and we got winds going out to left. So if you're hoping for this red hot hitting lineup that got Rizzo back, that got Stanton back, you're going into a bad situation. The question is, though, can Kansas City finally get some runs across? It was a 10-1 defeat last night. What's your thoughts here? Anything stand out to you, or does the price keep you off of just constantly eating the chalk, even on the road with this Yankees team?
I mean, the thing is this, like the first two games of BP and I discussed this, like when I played against the Yankees coming off the win against the Dodgers, right? Going right out on the road on Sunday Night Baseball, playing against a very good Kansas City team. The Yankees went out and handled business, and they shut down Kansas City, and they win the game 4-2. And then they get Brady Singer, probably their best starter yesterday, the Royals did, and look what happened there. Like, how do you literally step in front of this Yankees lineup? I don't care who they're playing at this point in time. I don't have a really good answer. I mean, you could theoretically lay the 1.5 with the Yankees if that's – but even the prices now are so exorbitant for them. You're paying such a premium. The Yankees are seeing prices now that the Dodgers saw all of last year. So it's a very tough spot to step in front of them. If you want to roll the dice on a Kansas City money line, I could see it because the value is there, you know, from that standpoint for a team that's very good at home, 24-13. Like, they don't lose often at home. Are they going to get swept at home? If they lose this game, you know, they're in danger of being swept at home in a 4-game series. But it is the Yankees. And much like we keep saying, can they still win again? Yeah, they can still win again, even without Juan Soto in the lineup. The thing here tonight, you get a little bit of variance. I don't trust Cody Poteet. I know he's been good in his 2 starts, but his name is Cody Poteet. Like, you know, this is a guy that isn't supposed to be in the majors at this point in time. So, and then Dan Altavilla, which one do you? I mean, he's a relief pitcher. Are they going with a bullpen game? It looks like KC for today. He's only made 1 appearance so far in the year. Don't know what the plan is for him. So that brings a ton of variance in for Kansas City's pitching staff. Yankees have the edge in the bullpen. I mean, you know, I always look at this game and go, Kansas City money line first half. If they ain't winning early, they're probably not winning late. So take your chances that Kansas City's bats at home get to Poteet early and they can get out of there with a run, but I don't see much else to play any other way to play other than the Yankees and lay the chalk.
So BP for you, and you know, Zinno kind of touched upon it. I get it, you know, talking yourself into there being value on the home dog and a team who is good at home. But you can argue with the money that's already come for Kansas City that you're starting to now get value in under 150 in some spots. I'm looking at over at the Superbook minus 148 here for the Yankees. So talk about the term value. You could argue the hottest team in baseball in the Yankees now that the money has come for Kansas City. That could be the value side. Anything stand out to you in this one other than the fact that in Kansas City we have a very Colorado-like total thanks to the weather that's there. We're seeing 10.5s, 11s in this one.
Yeah, with the Royals doing the old switcheroo on us and go with Altavia, Dan, I quickly scratch this. Now, the one thing that does jump out to me with this game is the Royals off 3 consecutive losses, guys. It's happened 4 times previous to tonight. They're 4-0 this season. They have not had a 4-game losing streak all season. Now, if they were going to have a 4-game losing streak, it would probably be because they are playing indeed the best team in baseball. Yeah, Zinno said he literally did not want to step in front of the Yankees. I also won't do that because I'm not going to fly to Kansas City tonight. But I will not figuratively step in front of the Yankees either. This team right now is rolling. Maybe you go with the over in this. But the number's so high. Both because the Yankees average over 5 runs per game on the road. And the Royals average 5.4 at home. But the odds makers have adjusted for that. So, you know, with the old switcheroo from the Royals, this was kind of an easy scratch for me. But again, I'll go back to what I just said. They have not lost 4 in a row at any point this season.
And you fade him. The deflating, we had our phenom on, and you know, we get it across, and maybe we're a little bit deflated because the bad news for Pittsburgh, yes, you got the win yesterday, but you're going to have lefty Bailey Falter heading out, which is least his last outing was a lot different than maybe what you see with Skeens on the mound. So anything stand out to you here? Pittsburgh, St. Louis, we had some questions about that one. So hitting this one from my man BJ. And later on, we'll get the afternoon game coming up for you, the Houston and San Francisco game. But Falter, Gray, Price here for the St. Louis Cardinals. Can Pittsburgh make it 2 in a row? What do you think?
Yeah, it's always interesting when you see such a massive shift in the odds from game to game. Dad, yesterday, obviously, Pittsburgh favored, because of Skeens. That's going to attract a lot of attention. Here, St. Louis has its best pitcher on the mound with Sonny Gray. You got to note, although Pittsburgh pulled that game out last night, what do they have? Only 3 hits, I think, the entire game, I believe. So not a lot of offense. They're up against Gray today. So I would maybe take a look at the under. Yes, Pittsburgh they were actually out hit 8-3 in that game, despite the 2-1 win. So I would maybe take a look at the under here. Hopefully maybe St. Louis is winning. You don't need those last 3 outs in the bottom of the ninth. The Cardinals do not have an offense to be feared at all. They average just 3.9 runs per game on the year, only goes up slightly at home. And obviously they didn't do much scoring yesterday either with just the 1 run. So I would take a look at an under in this divisional matchup.
Under, hard to argue when you just had 3 runs yesterday. I will again say the pitching is quite different than what you had on the mound last evening. Any thoughts on you in that one, Zinno, or you want to keep on rocking?
No, I mean, look, just a couple of things to note here. Bailey Falter, who was an absolute chump last year, has actually been pretty decent, all things considered. But go look at his home road splits. Other than getting bombed by the A's back on April 29th, his other 5 road starts, 1 run, 2 runs, no runs, no runs. I mean, other 4 road starts, sorry. He's been good on the road. And this is not a St. Louis lineup that traditionally scares me. And, I have been on the fade the Pirates post Skeens day, Skeens day +1 last 3 outings, and it's worked out really well. But I don't know if I love the spot here. It feels chalky as hell, guys. But first 5 under would be where I would go.
Yeah, and 5 of Gray's 6 home starts, guys, have gone under the total. He's got a he's got a .86 whip at home, and to Zinno's point about Falter, he's got a sub-1 whip on the road.
Yeah,
even with the 1 bad threat and 5. So, I think the starters can probably rule the day.
It's chalky as hell. It's chalky as hell. It's as chalky as a fedora and sunglasses, but it absolutely feels like a good play. Thank you very much.
Well, if we're thinking, and BP said it there, the starting pitchers might have themselves a day. Zinno, is this not a nerfy candidate? We eat the chalk there and say no run first inning. I mean, let me just. We like the under in the first 5. We like the under in the first 3. I mean, nerfy.
Yesterday it was no runs first 5 innings. Remember, all the runs came at the end of the game.
You get a really good price. It's around -115, -120. It absolutely looks like a decent nerfy candidate. I mean, I haven't looked at the lineups and everything else. Sometimes some of these guys are a little scary the first time through the order. And it's crazy for a guy like Falter. I'm just looking at his splits now. The highest batting average against he has is the first time through the order. So if he survives that, he ends up going pretty well. So when the times he's getting rocked the first time through the order. So that brings a little bit of pause into it, but it's not a bad look, Dan. I wouldn't disagree.
All right, there you go. An in-depth, all about the unders there in that one. Hop below in the comments. Let us know which games you're eyeing, which games you'd like to hear about. Shout out to the chat. Self-Made E checking in. He wants to hear us talk about the Mavs. So we'll hit upon the Mavs and Boston matchup big time on the diamond here today. I'm just messing with you, E. We're appreciating you chiming in here, of course. Maybe both of these guys have some plays up in that one, so maybe by the end we'll touch upon that for you. But we do have the NBA tip-off show coming your way this evening. Joe Ranieri, Andy Lang going to be breaking down every prop you could imagine in the game, and of course talking side and total. That's coming up here shortly on the WagerTalk TV YouTube channel. But I give you a little sprinkle here, Self-Made E, just since you're chiming in. We appreciate you. Shout out to the chat over on the YouTube feed as well. Eric D, Scotty Pimpin chiming in A as well. City by the Bay, Nick hopping in here as well, letting us know he just put 100 on Yankees, Phillies, Dodgers. A little 3-teamer there from man Nick. Good luck. Are you Zen chiming in as well? Wisconsin guy. All of you, we appreciate you, and hopefully we're helping you round out those cards for you. Texas and the LA Dodgers. I don't have anything in this game. I'm wondering if you guys do. I just bring it up because we had Titan CT. He was asking, you guys hear anything about Seager? No lineup cards have been submitted. I mean, hell, the Rangers, I haven't even seen them name a pitcher yet. So your guess is as good as mine, is if it'll be a 5th straight game going to be missed here for Corey Seager. But this game is just a big old question mark for me. I got nothing in this one. Dodgers just absolutely rolled Texas. I don't see why that wouldn't happen again. Any thoughts for either of you guys? Zinno, I'll start with you. Bueller, any play in this game?
I mean, I trust the Rangers offense like I trust my ex-wife's lawyer. I mean, like, this is just not a team that I want to back offensively at any point in time.
Wild stray.
They couldn't score in a whorehouse with a fistful of hundreds. Like, that's just where they are at this point in time. This is not an offense I can get behind, period. They are a team that is average at best, probably below average with their pitching and their bullpen. Again, it's another spot here. I mean, the Texas bullpen ERA is the 4th worst in all of Major League Baseball. So if you're going to actually play them and the Dodgers somehow get past John Gray, guess what? They might have 9 outs to get even. And it's a bad play all around. Until Texas rights itself and proves that they can actually start scoring runs, and especially away on the road. Like, it's one thing when they're home and they're only giving up like 3.5 runs at home. On the road, come on. I mean, just set your money on fire instead.
Yeah, you could definitely set the money on fire. That is certainly an option. I'm personally not going to do that, but it is an option to do rather than bet that one. Anything for you stand out? The 10-10 special, the get back special. I don't know what you're getting back because I'm not betting Texas in this spot. That's for sure. What about you, BP?
No, Zinno right at the end actually took the words right out of my mouth that, he talked about the Texas offense and whorehouses and all that, but, we also need to focus on the pitching. And I don't think there's a team, guys.
Texas, Bryan. The best whorehouse in Texas. Where it is.
I hear you, but regardless of where the game is taking place, okay, and most of them, I believe, take in Major League Baseball stadiums, not whorehouses, the Rangers just give up a lot more runs per game. There it is. They give up a lot more runs per game on the road than at home. Like Zinno said, 2 full runs per game more on the road than at home. Yes, 2 full runs per. Even she can understand that math. And the Rangers are 0-3 this year after allowing 10+ runs in their previous game. So nothing really points to the Rangers doing well in this spot.
Yeah, and that was. The question was really just about Seager. Again, no lineup cards have come in. I would honestly expect him not to play, just the way that this series has gone. It's like, what, you're going to put a desperation start in there for him. But again, I've seen nothing. I've checked on Twitter as well. If we see anything before we sign off here, we'll let you know. Godveen going with Rangers money line. Wow. All right.
Aggressive.
Maybe he still thinks NHL is going on. Nah, I'm just messing with you, Godveen. Best of luck to you. If you get that plus money ticket home, I want you to come in the chat tomorrow and brag about it. That is for sure. Gentlemen, since we talked one of the latest games, or the latest game on the board, let's talk one that goes in just over an hour. Our man BJ was asking, you have any thoughts here on Valdez versus Webb, Houston and San Francisco? This one going at 3:45. So if you're catching us on the rewatch, you just scroll right on through it. But as far as the live viewers, Houston, San Francisco, don't fast forward through Brian Powers' thoughts right here, regardless if it's going on. What do you got in this one, BP?
No, don't, because I actually cashed a ticket on the Astros' first 5 last night. They got the job done there for me. They won the game 3-1. I think the Astros are a better team than the Giants, but this is the one matchup that I think favors San Francisco, at least early, and that's because they have Logan Webb on the mound, guys. At home, 1.71 ERA, 1.048 WHIP. Webb's been really good of late. He's been really good all season. He's the better starter. So this was the one I talked about Houston on the morning wager in the series opener on Monday, but this is the one game I would not endorse Houston and would lean towards the home team who has the better starter. And the game is priced okay. So, I mean, if you want to take Giants full game, that's not a big deal. If you want to take Giants first 5, I don't think that's a bad deal either.
Yeah, and Zinno, I'm wondering your thoughts on this one because I feel like this should be. I should look at this game, see these two pitchers' names, and I should automatically be like, oh, what? Even if the total's at 7, I want to play under, or at least under first 5 in this one. But that it just hasn't been the case this season. It's not like they've been horrible. It's not like they've been bottom of the league, but it hasn't been what you have come to expect from either Fromber or Webb. Any thoughts on the total in this one, or are you looking elsewhere?
I mean, I'd invest in Bitcoin before I'd invest in this game. Like, that's how much volatility I think there is with these two teams. Like, it's one of those things where they're teams I can't figure out. I mean, when I think they're going to score, they don't. When I think the pitchers are going to show up, the opposite happens. It's the George Costanza theory. Just do the opposite of whatever I think in this game. I mean, I don't get a real good feel. I do like backing Logan Webb, and the Astros aren't good on the road. But it's one of those things that at that price, it almost feels too easy. And when things feel easy in baseball, I kind of want to run in the other direction. All things given away from the chalk talk pick I talked before. But again, the Giants are only going to score 3 or 4 runs, right? And is that enough to win? It all depends, I mean, that's really where the variance comes in.
Absolutely. No, and that's one of the tools that we obviously get to have is, sure, this game's going at 345. It's not like we have to bet it. If there's something that you like, player prop, nerfy, yerfy, hey, make the angle. But sometimes the best bet you're going to make is the one that you don't make. Don't force yourself, especially in a sport like baseball. Don't pretzel yourself into forcing a play on the game. That is one of the best pieces of advice for any new bettors or veteran bettors that maybe just need to hear it again. If you're pretzeling yourself, if you don't see someone that maybe jumps off the page, or if it jumps off the page too much, it's the fine line of trying to find which spot makes sense for you. Hey, make sure you check these guys out over at WagerTalk.com. We had some folks obviously asking about some basketball picks. These are some of the best guys on the hardwood as much as the diamonds. So you can check them out, WT.buzz. You can check out their socials. Links are in the description below as well. Give them a follow, and don't block our man Mark Zinno like our guest tomorrow, Tokyo Brandon, did. I brought it to the show. I had to do it. It has to get out under wraps. It'll be discussed. It'll be discussed on the program. It needed to be done.
Nothing's under the hat.
It needed to be done. I'm sorry. This is on me, but I'm a man who wore it better. You see it there. Tokyo Brandon, I'm telling you, he's going to be live on the show with us tomorrow. You're going to get to see the look in person. Look at that. I mean, it's just, can't we just say both? Can it be both? Wore it terrifically. Yes. It's the family guy in me. Everyone just wants to be happy.
What's up, looking at pictures? You look at that picture of Zinno. Imagine driving down I-75 and getting pulled over by that guy. My God, you're getting a ticket for the ages right there. That's $300 coming right out of your account.
And by the way, I did appreciate Prez and the introduction. I'm told that we have fashion advice on Wager Talk today. I'm told we have fashion advice. And Mark Zinno is wearing a hat, a fedora, and glasses.
You rip a few more packs, Zinno, you might sound exactly like Prez. That was pretty strong. It was pretty strong.
I have a lot of money because I make good wages, and if I was to make a wager on fashion, it would be that hat and sunglasses.
Oh man, see what happens. Tyler pointed it out best. He goes. Tokyo Brandon put on a hat and just derailed Wager Talk for an entire week. It is true. Nobody cared like Batman.
Are we supposed to not react to it? I mean, he was screaming, "React to me!" I mean, it was like the old Jim Rome show. I feel that's.
Yeah, like Bane and Batman, nobody cared who I was until I put on the mask. Tokyo Brandon,
exactly.
Nobody cared who I was until I put on the hat. So I was molded by the hat. I was born in it. That's our man Tokyo Brandon. All right, gentlemen, let's do best bets because we have rightfully derailed the show here. So I'll get it back on track here. We'll hit some of the other games that people want us to talk upon. Don't worry, we do have a best bet coming up in the Phils game. I have some thoughts in that one as well. Zinno's going to have a play in that one. But BP, tell the folks who are looking for these basketball plays, if you have anything up, locked and loaded over at your page, and tell us about this Padres and A's game, because good news for the Padres is they're going for a sweep, something they badly need. But bad news for the Padres. They're going for a sweep, and they're 0-5 when they're going for a sweep. But you don't care about any of that. You're looking towards not only the total, you don't even care what happens for the full 9 in this one. Best bet, what are we thinking?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But the NBA, Dan, I have 2 plays up for Game 3. One in the first half, 1 full game. You can get both of them for just $29 on my page. It's been a great NBA season. 96, 66, and 2 overall record, up 69 units. And then we are 33 and 18, our last 51 heading into the game tonight. So just head over there to my page to get both winners for $29. This one will cost you absolutely nothing. It's my best bet for the show. And I like the first 5 under, Dan, between the A's and Padres. I realize this is not a news flash, but the A's are very bad. And I know they were surprisingly competitive to start the season. 17-17 the first 34 games, but guess what they've done the last 35? 9-26. And it has been mostly a lack of offense that has killed them. Over the last 9 games, they have scored 3 runs or fewer 8 times, just 16 runs total in those 9 games. That's less than 2 per game. They are a horrific, and I do mean horrific, 4 for 52 with runners in scoring position during that same stretch. That is beyond woeful. Now, if you're thinking positive variance, right? We talk about positive variance on the show all the time. Oh, well, things can't get any worse for the A's. I'd say there's not much positive variance to be had with this lineup because for the season, they only average 3.1 runs per game on the road. This is pretty much who they are. The only team that averages fewer runs on the road, the White Sox, of course. Starting for San Diego, you got Michael King. I like what he's done his last 3 starts, just 2 runs allowed in 17 innings pitched. So I think I've established Oakland's not going to be scoring much here. Let's turn to the other half of the equation. San Diego, when they're at home, they average just 4.1 runs per game. And they've really had trouble against lefties all season, home or road. Last 5 games against the left-handed starter, they've scored 4, 2, 1, 3, and 1 runs. For the year, they average just 2.4 runs per game when facing a lefty starter. And they are drawing a southpaw tonight. Hogan Harris, he's looked pretty good in 2 outings. 3 runs allowed in 11 2/3 innings pitched. 2 of those 3 runs were unearned. And then there is this, Dan, you alluded to it. San Diego's 0-5 this season when going for a series sweep. And guess what? I'm going to add this. In those 5 losses, they have been held to 3, 1, 0, 4, and 0 runs. That is just 8 runs total in 5 games. This is another one where I think the starters rule the day. So under first 5 is my best bet for the show. It was 4.5 as the show started. It's since come down to 4. I don't think that matters. There's just not going to be a lot of runs scored early in this game. Quite frankly, not a lot of runs scored the entire way. But under first 5 is your official show best bet.
Hogan's hero for our man, BP, going with the under. And yeah, I mean, the 4.5, sure, you would like that hook, but if the game shakes out the way that BP's seeing it, you end up looking like a push at worst case scenario if it does play out the way that BP is seeing it as far as that one goes. That one goes at 410, so with the heading towards the under, something that you probably want to grab sooner rather than later. All right, my man Mark Zinno, let the folks know what you have up over at WagerTalk.com in that great fedora and glasses combo. And I will say you got a Yerfy and or Nerfy bet in this one. I will say that yesterday, if you bet no run in the first inning, at least Schwarber made it painless for you because it only took one step up to the bat for the Nerfy to fly out the window. Moonshot from a man Schwarber. But you think it might be the well to go back to as far as the Nerfy is concerned. Why is that, Zinno?
Yeah, I mean, look, as you mentioned, by the way, playing Game 3 on the site tonight along with 2 Major League Baseball plays, wt.buzz/MZ. Go get it there. It's a wonderful deal. So let's go back to the Phillies and Red Sox here because I tried to play against the Phillies coming back from London last night. Took the Red Sox plus the 1.5. Obviously, I was on the wrong side of it. It was more of a situational spot with Philadelphia, maybe being a little tired from the travel and everything else. Boston couldn't hit the damn ball. That was that. So this is another team, the Phillies, you don't really want to step in front of, Dan. I know you love to hear that right now because they are just clicking on all cylinders all around. But let's just look at the starters here for tonight as we look at the Nerfy between Nick Pivetta and Christopher Sanchez. Now, Pivetta has been good, and the 0.94 whip is what stands out to me when you're looking at a Nerfy, because he's not going to give away a free pass, right? He doesn't give up a lot of hits, doesn't give up a lot of walks. Guys don't get on that much. So that means all you really have to do is worry about the home run ball like you had last night. That said, Pivetta has hit a Nerfy in 6 of his 8 starts this year. He's done a very good job at getting through the order. We talked about splits earlier, right? And first time through the order. Batters are batting just 132 against Pivetta the first time through the order. So if there's a pitcher out there in this series that I think can neutralize the Phillies' offense in the first inning, I like my chances with Pivetta. Now, on the flip side here, you look at Christopher Sanchez, and Dan just threw up in his mouth when I said look at Christopher Sanchez because he's – yeah, the numbers are okay, but he's not really all that great and hasn't been. And, oh, by the way, here's the real variance in this play, because this is a guy who's terrible the first time through the order. When I mean terrible, I mean Stephen A. Smith, terrible through the order. Opposing batters are batting 300 the first time through the order. So you're like, Zinno, why would you want to play on that? Well, here's the rub. The team that is leading Major League Baseball this entire season in strikeout percentage against left-handed pitchers, you guessed it, the Sox. 29% K rate against left-handed pitching. Sanchez, good, not great, but good. And he's a decent strikeout pitcher, almost a K per inning. But facing that lineup and that team, and the Red Sox are not very good against left-handers, very middle of the road, bottom, like teens into low 20s when it comes to batting average, OPS, and WRC plus. So they're also a team that's hit the 4th fewest home runs against lefties this season. I always say it repeatedly. The proper way to lose an Nerfy is a solo shot, bullet to the back of the head. You saw it last night. I don't think we get it tonight. I don't think the Red Sox are the team that's going to do it, even though I'm probably a little bit more worried about the bottom of the first than I am with the top. Pivetta gets through here at a very moderate price at minus 118. Let's go Nerfy between the Red Sox and Phillies tonight.
Yeah, and I feel like I would be a little bit more concerned about Pivetta having a quality outing if the game was in Philadelphia, because when he was in the rotation, the starting rotation for the Philadelphia Phillies, not many talking heads had much great to say about Pivetta. And I do believe he's played against the Phils once since he's left, and it was not accident. I think it was like 2021. And I think it was 5 earned runs or 5 runs, 4 of them were earned. Again, that becomes anecdotal because you're talking about completely different lineups. You're talking about completely different situations. But I think there's a little bit more credence to him having a better outing. The fact that he gets the home fans behind him, that's for sure. The sneaky one for me in this one, guys, and hopefully any of these hits maybe will come after the first inning. But Bryson Stott, like when you talk about the hitters for this team, you think about the bigger names like Bohm. You think about JT Realmuto, who's going to be missing for a little bit, and you're hoping the guys like Stott can step up in that absence. You think about Schwarber. You think about Harper. Stott, quiet, man. He's got on base 6 out of the last 7 games. Yesterday, he had a double and another hit, so he went 2 for 4 yesterday. He's getting the options, or he's getting the looks at the plate. So I'm going to one of my favorite plays. It's going towards the total bases when it's priced at the same as total hits, and maybe we get another double out of Bryson Stott here tonight, and we can cash it on one swing of the bat. 105, Bryson Stott over the total bases. That's the Phil's play for me. So we didn't talk about the game yesterday. I figured had to come proper with something for you here at the end. Hop below in the comments if you have any plays that you'd like us to hit on, or if you have yourself. And if you're watching here on the rewatch, of course, we love seeing your best bets. We love when those come across. Last game that we'll end it on here, guys, following the best bet segment, since we had a couple people asking about it before we shut things down. Quick thoughts on Povich, not Maury Povich, Cade Povich, the lefty, going for the Orioles tonight. He's going up against Schwellenbach. Nice, strong Polish name there. Braves and Orioles. Any thoughts for you in this one, BP? Braves coming off getting blanked. The hitting woes continue for that team. Any reason to think that changes?
No, so it's interesting because we have another. When Zinno and I were talking about this game this morning, the first thing you notice is, again, you've got a shift in the odds. Baltimore was a dog yesterday. They were, they didn't have a day off between series where Atlanta did. And guess what? Baltimore still won. And I retweeted this yesterday, or tweeted at Zinno. The Braves have been among the bottom feeders in terms of offense now for what, 2 months? So
since April 24th. April 24th, they have scored the fewest runs in Major League Baseball since April 24th. I mean,
that is the Braves. They've scored fewer runs than the White Sox since April 24th.
And the Marlins.
That's insane. Yeah. I mean, so you know what I say about this? The Orioles deserve to be favored. Yesterday, if you got the Orioles, that was a great price. I think, Mark, you had them in some form or the other. But the Orioles right now are just simply a better team than the Atlanta Braves. The pitching in this matchup is a little interesting because you're dealing with guys who don't have a large sample size. But the Braves, I've been guilty of it. I know other people get, this offense has got to turn it around. Do they? Is my question. So I'm very concerned about what I've seen from the Braves at the plate, and Baltimore is absolutely the better team right now. Just look at the run differential column. It's big gap there.
Yeah, definitely hard to disagree. Zinno, any closing thoughts on that one?
These two starting pitchers, have an ERA that's old enough to vote. That's how high it is. So, I would expect some runs. You want to keep tricking yourself into believing that the Braves are going to snap out of it and start to score, right? Just by the sheer, rules of baseball. Eventually, you just got to put up a 7 spot somewhere. It happens to every team at some point in time. But, I think there's an angle to look at the Orioles team total. If I don't even know what the juice is on it, but thinking that at home where they are very good and they usually score more, they have a shot to do well. And they hit righties and lefties both equally as good. So the Braves don't really hit lefties all that well. But nonetheless, these are two, let's call them 4A pitchers at this point in time. I mean, Schwellenbach could get Schwellenbach tonight. So, and that's an actual verb, Schwellenbach. So
now we know.
I think there's a big chance that we see some runs, but I would rely on the Orioles offense more than the Braves.
I will say one thing. Yeah, it's hard to rely on the Braves. I just pulled up. I went over. We had Ralph Michaels on yesterday giving us thoughts on Nerfies and Yerfies, and you can go to his Twitter at CalSportsLV. He does a report on any trends that you see on teams that are cashing yes run first inning and no run first inning. Happened again last night, but the Braves are on a run of having no hit in or no run, of course. In their 1-8 run in their away games here, as far as the Yerfie or the Nerfie caching. So just saying, if we're looking towards one team to be the factor, a lot of people have been asking about those no run first innings. That one might be a candidate for this better. But hop below in the comments. Let us know what you're looking to play. Big shout out to the chat that's been joining us. William Rudder, RU, Zen, Stephen Utterbach. He chiming in there as well. Over on the YouTube Shorts feed, blowing up. Dice Man on the beat. Saito, Slat, God Veen hopping in as well. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe. We'd love to see more of you chiming in the chat. Big thanks to our guests here, Fedoras or not. Bryan Power, Mark Zinno going with the Nerfie in the Phils game. That's his best bet. Bryan Power going with the A's and the Padres first 5 under the 4.5. You want some basketball thoughts? That's right. NBA Finals Game 3 tonight. Joe Ranieri and Andy Lang coming to you live on the WagerTalk YouTube channel in just a few moments here. Coming up, I believe, 4:15, we're going to go live on the East Coast, giving you some NBA winners on the court. Andy Lang breaking down all the props there for you. So make sure you come back and join us for that. If you want any baseball breakdown, some other thoughts from handicappers, check out the links in the description below, or if you're watching us on the rewatch, click the video on your screen right this moment to keep getting all the info you need to cash on all the sports you love. That's what we do on an hourly basis here on WagerTalk TV. We'll see you next time. Going live again, Tokyo Brandon and the Fedora, the true Fedora, joining us on tomorrow's edition. So best of luck, everyone. Make some money, and we'll see you next time on First Pitch.